Hi, I am Heather Greenslade. Welcome to Singer-Songwriting School. Today we're going to be creating a song start to finish in Garageband iOS with nothing but your iPad or iPhone and your earbuds. That's it. Full instrumentation, mixed, mastered, vocals, and we're going to send it out into the world. So the first thing you need to do is grab your iPad or your iPhone, hit GarageBand, and then you'll see a little plus sign in the upper right corner of your screen. Tap that to start a new song. So once you open GarageBand, you are going to find a little plus sign way up in the right-hand corner in the top. Press that so you can start a new song. Then you're going to want to choose drummer. There are all sorts of instruments, but we want to choose drummer. Make sure you don't choose smart drums, but just drummer. And I want a percussionist, so I clicked on percussion. The first percussionist who pops up is right here, and I know that she's not the one I want right now. You can actually click on her picture, and you can actually click on different sounds, different variations of the music that she makes. Or you can click on her picture and swipe through and get all sorts of different drummers. I know for a fact I want Quinn, and I want Quinn's Boardwalk variation, so that's where I'm gonna click. If we leave it like it is, we're only gonna get 8 bars of drums, and then it's going to loop again, so when we record the next instrument, it's gonna drive us crazy. So there are a couple ways that you can manage this. I know what the sections of my song are because I had it mapped out ahead of time, so I'm just going to plug them in. This makes it easy when I go back and start editing things within the song because I can jump to a particular section. If you don't have this, it's really not a big deal. You just go back and set it to automatic and it'll follow you around. No, you won't be able to as easily navigate your song, but you can do it by ear. So if you do know your sections, I highly recommend you jump in here and map them out. And if you don't panic. It's gonna be okay. All right, I'm getting my last section settled. Now make sure, if I just jump over and tap the screen for my song now, it's only gonna give me the one section. I'll be stuck in section I. And then as I start to, see, one 8-bar section, and it'll drive me nuts, I know, because it has. So you want to jump back into your sections and hit all sections. Then when you go back and look at your song, you've got the whole song. Make sure not to skip that step. Now there are a couple more things that we want to look at before we get started. Do you see that little wrench up in the top right-hand corner? We need to click on that and talk first about tempo. So how fast is your song? If you're not sure, see where it says tap to set tempo? Just start singing your song in your head and tapping and see how it comes out. And that's what I did. And I got close. I know that this song is usually about 160 for me. So the other thing you can do is just go in and adjust it with the arrows. And I set it to 160. I'm going to go back. In terms of time signature, most songs are in 4/4. If it's in 3/4, you probably know it. That means, you know, emphasis on the first beat of only 3 beats. Key signature. If you don't know the key signature, don't panic. It's fine. We can adjust everything else as we go. Mine's an A minor. If you do know, it's just going to help you already have chords and things set up and ready for you to go so you don't have to adjust anything extra. All right, let's add an instrument. Go up to that top left-hand corner and hit the big square with 2 squares on either side to add a track. We're going to select guitar and then smart guitar. It pops up the acoustic guitar. You can play note by note, or you can just strum it with your fingers, or you can hit the letters at the top and play chords. You can switch guitars. Here's a classic clean, add a pedal, check out what the autoplay sounds like because it's different on every instrument. There's 4 autoplays for each one. Or check out a different guitar. There's so many options in here, it's awesome. And you can go to individual notes so you can actually bend strings and stuff. How cool is that? So here we are in our acoustic I Can't Stop Bending. I know that my song is going to be autoplay 2 on acoustic. That's how I want to hear it. So I am set to go. So what I have to do now is just hit record, wait for the 4-beat count in, and play. Now I'm actually not going to play the entire song. I'm going to cheat a little bit, so stay tuned. We're just going to get through this section and one more quick section, and then I'll show you the magic. Also, we did just play an 8-bar intro. When you're setting up your song, make sure you leave room for an intro and an outro. Songs never just start with the lyrics and end with the, well, sometimes they end with the last word, but they rarely start with the first lyric. Okay, wrapping up. Cool. Now I went a little bit too far, so I'm going to tap the green section. I'm going to stretch it out a little bit so I can see it better. And tap the green section and just pull it back. And when I stretched, I did that by grabbing the timeline on the top with 2 fingers and pulling my fingers apart. So grab the timeline to do that stretching, and then just drag the end. Now, I really know that my second 3 parts for the guitar are identical to my first 3 parts of the guitar. It was intro, verse, chorus. Then I have a little instrumental section that's the same length as my intro and another verse, chorus. So I'm going to tap and hold and get a copy and then go over to the right place in my timeline and paste it. Pretty cool, right? Especially when you're having trouble playing a particular section and you're afraid there's no way I'm going to be able to play it every time correctly. Just get it through once correctly and copy and paste that sucker. Why work harder than you have to? So my next section is the bridge. And I want to play it a little bit differently, so I'm changing my guitar autoplay. I'm just going to play it a little bit different and just play these 8 bars. So I'm getting it to the right place in the timeline, click and go, and just playing the bridge. And then I'm going to stop again because right after that I'm going to go back to my original guitar playing technique, which was autoplay 2. So here we go, move the timeline, the cursor to the end of that section, moved autoplay back to 2, and then I can just get ready to hit record again and play through to the end of the song. Easy. All right, now we are ready to add a vocal track. What we're gonna do is go up to that upper left-hand corner again and hit the square with 2 squares next to it. Let's talk microphones for a second. There's so many options for what you can use. I have 4 mics that I tend to use for very different purposes. Right now, I'm using a big Yeti Blue to record just the sound for this video. I have this little Apogee that I can plug directly into any Apple device. I love that one. I have my SM58 because, you know, who doesn't have an SM58? Great dynamic mic for stage performance. You can like basically run over it with a truck and it's awesome. I have another condenser mic. So mics, we could talk a lot about that and we will. But today, this video is to show you what you can do with nothing but your iPad, iPhone, and your earbuds. So this is what I used to record this song. My Apple earbuds with the little attached mic right here. So that's all we're going to use. Now you cannot use your AirPods or any other Bluetooth device. You do want the old school wired headset, and I'll tell you why. If you try to record vocals with a Bluetooth headset, you'll get what's called latency, and latency basically means you hear your vocals and then the sound, the music, the instruments after it. So you're not lined up time-wise with your singing and you won't be able to record in time, and it'll drive you completely batty. So I'm just saving you from that. So go old school, use the wired. Now, also, when you get in there to record, you can either choose to turn monitoring in or off while you record. Play with it. Monitoring sometimes will give you that latency as well, and you don't want that. It's going to drive you nuts. So you might want to turn monitoring off. Now, what that's going to do is we're recording it in with lead vocals. That's the setting. And so it has some compression, some reverb, all that stuff. It's more fun to sing along when you hear all those effects. If you turn off monitoring, you won't hear all that. So the tendency at that point is for you to sing a little bit emotionally dead, because you're thinking while you're singing, oh, this doesn't sound great. This doesn't sound like the radio. So you kind of have to psych yourself up for it. So that's the only, play with it, see what works for you. I am singing in without monitoring and just pretending like I think I'm awesome anyway. And, you know, just kind of trick myself into it. So now jump in here to audio recorder and hit that little mic at the bottom, and it's set on lead vocals. That's cool. Sing the loudest part of your song and see how it's maxing out on red. That's not good. So adjust that fader until your loudest part of your song is still green. So I'm still a little bit high, adjusting. I sang the loudest part of my song, adjust a little bit more, and then I had it. You can do monitoring on or off. Monitoring on is probably going to introduce some of that latency I talked about, so I would just leave it off, which means you're not going to hear any effects in your vocal, but it'll work a lot better. Now, as I was recording this, since I didn't have monitoring on, you can't hear what I'm doing while I'm doing it. Okay, your vocals are probably going to sound horrible when you listen back. And it has nothing to do with your singing. Don't give up. Don't listen to them and think, oh, I'm such a bad singer. What am I even doing? It's because we have not tweaked anything yet. It just sounds sort of smushed and like flat, not flat pitch-wise, which is dead, right? We are going to work our magic. We're going to make it sound awesome. So don't give up. Listen back once. See if there are any spots you want to redo. And then take a deep breath. Don't worry, we're going to make it sound awesome. So just keep going, move on, set yourself free. All right, if you love. Okay, before I record anything else, I want to make a couple of changes. First of all, I've decided I do not want Finn, my drummer, to come in for a little while. I don't want him to come in until the second verse. There it is. Okay, so now that I know where my section is, I can erase everything up to that point. So I'm going to grab that spot and I'm going to split, and it gives me a little scissors, and I'm swipe down. And then I'm going to tap each little section before where I split it and delete. Bye-bye, Finn. Then I'm going to create a duplicate track. So if I click in the gray right kind of by those maracas and hold down, it'll give me an option to duplicate the track. And I'm going with yes, please. All right. Now what I'm gonna do is some copy and pasting, so I don't actually want to create an entire new drum track. If I do, it'll populate the whole thing again. That's not what I want, so let's delete that. We're actually just gonna copy and paste sections from the existing drum track and then modify them. So check this out. I grabbed the wrong section first, but you'll see it doesn't matter because they're all the same so far. So I copied this little section and then pasted it down below, but then I realized I actually want it a little over to the left. So I'm just going to grab it with my finger and move it over to where I want it. Move, move, there we go. Now I want to do the same thing with the bridge. So I'm going to go find the bridge section in my initial fin track. And same thing, I'm going to copy it and then tap my finger in the new percussion track and paste it down there. And now what I need to do is delete those sections from my initial drum track because I'm creating new ones instead. So I've got two drum tracks, but it'll sound like one because they're playing at different times. Now I want to change this sound. Look at my big box, the square on the left and the bottom. I've got it at loud and complex. So while I listen, I'm going to move that around a little bit until I find the sound that I want for these two more mellow drum sections. So I'm going to move it to simple, a little less loud. There, that sounds good. Okay, now I want to add a little glamour and romance and throw in some strings. So I'm going to jump over to keyboard and smart piano because this is where I can find the Hollywood strings. They are under synth pads. There's Hollywood strings. Just like guitars, you can do autoplay on these too. And you can just switch on which autoplay you want and then hit the chord name and see what it gives you. Now that's great, but for this song, I'm just going to turn autoplay off and play those chords. And it's just like guitars. As long as you hold down the chord, it'll play. To decide where I want to come in. So I am going to jump in. I only have a guitar in the beginning. I'm going to throw some strings about the middle of the first verse. So let's start there. 'Cause the times are getting tough and you're running out of luck and the government is only out to get you and you're running out of time, gotta get there but got it so far, the ride of your life. So sometimes we want to quantize a digital track. So what does that mean? Well, something that's a digital instrument. So we didn't record it as audio, we just recorded it straight through a device, in this case, the strings on our iPad. And we might have played it a little sloppily somewhere. We might be aware of that, we might not be aware of that, but quantizing is a way to really clean that up. So basically, if you quantize a track to the eighth note, if you played a little bit off of the eighth note, if your rhythm was a little bit off, it'll lock it back in there. So you have to be careful because if you quantize it too small, say to the 32nd note, it might make it go even further off. But if you're confused by that, you can just pick the eighth note. If that sounds weird, pick a quarter note, or don't mess with this. It's totally up to you. Some people don't like quantizing because they think it makes it sound too computerized. I tend to do it on things like strings, things that are just kind of quiet in the background. So I'm going to jump in here and quickly quantize this track. So I'm going to jump up here to track settings and then quantization. And I'm going to hit straight. I don't want it to swing or triple or anything. And I'm going to go with eighth note. So that should do it. And now we can give it a listen, make sure it sounds like I want it to. It sounds good, but it's too loud. The strings are way too loud. So I need to grab that fader and slide it back. See, once I've got everything going. There we go. We'll pull it back a little bit and get it just like I want it to sound. A little bit more. So you just have to kind of mess with levels until you get it where you want it. Okay, so now I'm going to be a little bit wacky and add a shaker to the bridge of my song. So I'm going to go to drums, smart drums, and hit the classic studio kit. Then I'm just gonna drag the shaker over onto the pad. I can decide to make it more simple, more complex, more loud, more soft. In the bridge, I sing about a train, so I'm going for a little bit of a train sound just to be wacky. So moving it around, seeing where I like the song best. Once I've got that figured out, then I'm gonna have to go to the bridge section. It's kind of easy to see from where I am right here because I didn't play any strings in the bridge. I sat out. Also, since I mapped up my sections, you can tell where it's gonna be. So we're just gonna get that sound just like I want it to be. And go right over to the bridge and just hit record and play, let the shaker roll. The train is charging down the track. Just for those 8 bars until the end of the bridge. Know it's true. If you don't jump and ride the rails, well, that's the only way to lose in the ride of your... So we could add a bunch of reverb, we could mess even more with the EQ, we could put echo, we could just try all the effects we could, change the compression on the vocals. That's all well and good, but I'll tell you what the experts do, what the pros do, which makes all the difference, is triple and nudge. So the first thing that I need to do is just duplicate this vocal track. I'm gonna duplicate it twice. Then once I've got all 3 tracks in place, I can take the actual vocals I've recorded and copy and paste them so that I have 3 identical tracks. Once I've got those all duplicated, I'm gonna go to the top and stretch my timeline a little bit so that I can see better what's going on. This will take the grid off, and once the grid's off, I can nudge things in smaller increments, which is important here. So I'm gonna grab the first duplicate and shift it over just a tiny bit. And then I'm gonna grab the next duplicate and nudge that one just a tiny bit further. Now I've got the vocals in the track going straight down the middle, but I'm gonna pan one of the duplicates to the right a little bit and pan the other one to the left a little bit. This just makes my room a little bit bigger. Panning is a matter of preference. You can play with it and see what you like best. It just really changes the feel of how big the room is that you're listening in. So it's pretty cool. It's fun to mess with. So I'm gonna play it first soloing just one vocal track and then let you hear what it sounds like with all 3 together. You're boarding up all the doors and the vents and the windows, hiding everything that you got, but you know who you are. Now I'm gonna go in here and listen a little bit and add some reverb. Just kind of listen and mess with it and add a little things here and there until I like the sound. And you're running out of time, gotta get there, but got it so far. Vents in the windows, hiding everything. Stop waiting till you get there to live in the light. Now, before I get to the harmony vocals, I want to add a little dramatic emphasis here in the guitar track. There's a spot towards the end of every chorus where I would love to just have some silence. So, in the guitar. So, I'm finding those spots, splitting it, and deleting. There we go. Now I can listen to that point and you'll see the difference. Stop waiting till you get there to live in the light, 'cause this ride is your life. Oh, the ride Yeah, I love that. I love that. So now I'm going to go do the same thing in the next chorus. So I'll find that spot. There it is. So I need to expand it a little bit, tap on the track right there and hit split. Swipe down on that little scissor. Now select that little piece and delete it. And then I'll do that one more time in the final chorus of the song. Well, you gotta know it's true. Oh, the ride of your life. Great, now that I've got the guitar just like I want it, I'm going to double that track. So I'm going to click in the gray and do duplicate, and then I'm going to copy each section and just paste it to the new track. This will just make it sound a little fuller. I'm going to adjust the panning also. You won't hear a lot of the panning adjustments through this video, but you will when you listen to the SoundCloud file. Now I'm going to go a little old school rock and roll with my mixing, and I'm going to take all of my percussion track and put it to the left. So I just panned both of those all the way to the left. And then I'm going to take my guitars and put them over to the right, and I'm going to put one slightly more to the right than to the other. So this is just basically, you can hear the instruments like you're in a room and you're hearing them from whatever part of the room they're in. It really adds a real life kind of feeling to a song. Now I'm just going to play the song and mess with the faders a little bit so I get the volume levels where I want them. And once I feel good about what's in here, then I'm going to jump in and record some harmony vocals. Okay, it's time for the harmony vocals. So I added a new vocal track in here. Then I added another one because I got confused, but that's okay. So I'm going to move my cursor to the beginning of the chorus because that's where I'm going to sing harmonies, and then hit record. You won't be able to hear my harmonies as they're going in this video because, like before, I'm not monitoring as I'm recording, but they're going in there. All right, now we can listen back. Everything ready to go and hear what I've created. You already arrived. Stop waiting till you get there to live in the light, 'cause this ride is your life. Oh, the ride of your life. Great. Now, I like that all right. I'll tweak it a little bit later, but I'm just gonna copy and paste that for the other two choruses. I know where the choruses are, so I'm just gonna click on that little bit of a track, copy it, move down to that next place in my chorus and paste it, and do the same thing on the third one. I don't love singing harmonies, so it's pretty cool. I can just knock it out once and copy and paste it. Okay, now that I've got that harmony vocal track recorded, I'm gonna duplicate it just like I did with the lead vocals and with the guitars. I'm gonna thicken that sound a little bit, so duplicate the track and then copy and paste each section of it. Just tap on the section, say copy, go to that same place in the timeline on the new track and paste it. This last one, I just ended up recording harmonies on a little tiny part of the chorus. Well, I cut part of it out. So copy and paste just that little bit. And then panning is really a matter of preference. What I decided to do in terms of panning these harmony vocals was to take one way left and one way right. I put my lead vocals straight down the middle, so to me this just makes the room sound a lot bigger, which I love. So got that all sorted, and now I'm just gonna listen, and while I'm listening, adjust the volume.
Stop waiting till you get there. All right if you lie. You already arrived. Stop waiting till you get there to live in the light. 'Cause this ride is your life. Oh, the ride of your life.
Okay, one final thing. This is a super easy way to end the song. I'm just gonna hit fade out. So when we get to the end of the song, it just gradually, the volume tapers off into nothingness. Okay, we're almost finished. Let's rename this. So tap on, mine's My Song 14, hold it. I tapped on it so it opened up. Just hold on it. And you can click rename and then type in the name. And hit done. And now I can tap and hold it again. And I can click share. This one's a song, and I'm going to share it at the highest quality, iTunes Plus, because why not? And I am going to send it to myself on email, because then I can do whatever I want with it. Because it's my song file. We did it! So now you can share your song, and I always export it in the highest quality, in iTunes quality, because why not? As long as you have space wherever you're sending it, might as well have the best recording you can, right? Now, you could directly upload it to iTunes or to SoundCloud. If you want to upload it directly to SoundCloud, you'll need a mobile account, which is a monthly membership. I don't have that because I figure it's just as easy to email it to myself on Gmail, and then I can upload it from my MacBook for free. So that's what I'm gonna do, and there's my finished song. I can make a music video now, I can upload it anywhere to share, I can put it on social media, like it's just, I can use it to add to an album I'm making, so there we go. Good job!